Three South Africans detained for not having work visas in China are back home. It's understood they were offered jobs as English teachers, but they weren't provided the correct documents. eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo joins me now live from OR Tambo International Airport. So, Kaya, these three women are back home. Give us a bit more background as to how they got into trouble with the Chinese authorities.
Well, by all means, Mbekile, it's a very quite long, drawn-out issue. So there was a point where they were offered the teaching post in China. So they were using the study visa to go to the People's Republic of China. So then they got an opportunity to teach. So that's where the violation really happened. And then obviously the Chinese authorities were not pleased with that. So hence the detention. And they spent about 6 weeks in China. And we know that they have been coming back in the country, just a number of batches of these girls, mainly from different parts of the country. So we just got an opportunity, Mbekile, of speaking to Tristan Lee Niemand. This is a 19-year-old lady from East London. So she was one of those people who were offered the job opportunities in China. From her side, she was describing very harrowing account, the experience they were subjected to into China, and how they were arrested, the frustration of being detained in a foreign country where at times English, for example, is not even used. So it was really a very tough predicament for them.
What stands out, Khayelihle, for me here is the fact that around June this year, a group of about 50 young South Africans went through a very similar ordeal. So did this group of three women know about what had happened in June? Were they aware of that? And when did they travel to China?
Well, as a matter of fact, Mbekile, so this has been part of a very consistent effort from the side of South African authorities in terms of trying to conscientize and make sure that such people, they don't fall prey to such agencies. So there was, in fact, the group of girls who just got back today. They were part of that particular group. So a number of them were detained and for a very lengthy period of time. But obviously there has been a number of victims in this regard who were caught up in this situation. But we know, for example, from the side of the South African government, for example, they've started a number of programs like Travel Smart in making sure that people really are aware of the laws of the country where they're going to, but also make a very extensive preparations so that when they get to the other side, they know exactly what they get themselves into. But also, Mbekile, more interestingly enough, we got an opportunity as well of speaking to one of the activists, if you like. So one of his daughters as well was detained in China. So now the issue is it's all about making sure that they're really fully aware of what they may get themselves into.
Very briefly, then, you touched on the role of international relations in securing the release and being able to bring these young South Africans home. How has this, if in any way at all, impacted on South Africa-China relations?
Well, Mbekile, at this rate, it would be premature to really give an assessment other than to say perhaps it poses a number of challenges given the fact that when you look at how South Africa and China relate to each other, so they have quite a number of agreements. So once again, they always talk about people-to-people contact. So it's one of the very key elements underpinning the bilateral relations between South Africa and China. So this is a challenge that the two countries will have to look into so that perhaps in terms of the visa, the acquisition of the visa, they can try to relax perhaps the traveling time. We know that Pretoria and Beijing, they enjoy very cordial bilateral relations when it comes to trade and in many other aspects in terms of making sure that they work together.
All right, Khayelihle, let's leave it there for now. That was eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo, live for us from OR Tambo International Airport.